It's a hand tool. You're probably not going to see a lot of people using them right now in theater because the amount of precision that this will give you is not something that we typically see in building hardwall flats. Okay? But it is a tool. It's got a specific purpose, and this tool used for the right purpose will work just as fast as something that's got power to it, with just as much control and as good or better results. Okay? A rasp on the left, file on the right. Rasp, R-A-S-P, like raspberries. So rasp, file. So rasps are used for cutting wood, removing a lot of wood quickly. Okay. Files, depending on the tooth of it, how rough this is, will be used for smoother, for doing some smoother, cleaner work in wood, or for metal. Okay. Rasps and files come in a number of shapes. So they'll come square or rectangular. They'll come circular. If you see a circular rasp or a circular file, they call them rat tails for obvious reasons. You'll see some of your files and rasps will come with a flat side. They'll come flat on one side and then curved top on the other, or curved side on the other. Okay? So all depending on what it is that you need to do. Okay? So let me bring this through here for you again one more time. Rasp, file, wood, metal. And we'll find the two pieces. So wood and metal. Right, so wood, file, rasp, metal. Not that you couldn't use one for the other, but they'll last longer, cut better, and cleaner if you do them right. Hacksaw. So a hacksaw is meant for cutting metal. If you'll notice the teeth on this. So the teeth on this are much smaller, much closer together. Okay? So for every inch of blade on this, you're likely to see 18 or 20 or 24 teeth per inch, where on your hand saws, you're going to see 8 or 10 or 12. Okay? So the teeth size are smaller, much closer together. So when we ask you to go get some saws or saw blades, I'll talk about jigsaw later on, but if you're using a jigsaw and we ask you to get a wood blade or a metal blade, you know metal blades, because they've got 20 odd teeth per inch or more. Woods have 8, 10, 12, somewhere in that range. Spoke shave. Little teeny tiny, cute little spoke shave. Right? They come in larger sizes. This is the same as a plane, but it's meant for doing circles or scooping out seeds. So it will allow you to work on curves. X-Acto knives. Right? You all know X-Acto knives. Matte knife, M-A-T-T-E, right? Or something you refer to as carpet knives. box cutters. Okay. Chisels. So, wood on the left, wood on my left, so wood on your right, metal on your left. Okay? So you notice the ends? Alright, so the wood ones are going to have one flat surface, one angled on it. Your metal ones are going to have, it's going to look like a wedge. Both sides are angled. Okay. Metal, the metal chisels, you'll also hear these referred to as cold chisels. Okay. What else do we have for cutting? All right. That's it. Let's see, do a little more cutting tools. Okay, that's it, cutting tools. Any questions so far? Do we take a minute to do this? Nope. Okay, moving on. Sorry. A couple marking tools. Okay. So you'll see some tools that look like this. They look similar, but they do vastly different things. Just really quickly show you them.
Is that like the
They all look kind of the same, but we'll go ahead and have you. I'll tell you right now. Okay. So, these two here, that look like basically been ground down to a pencil point. These are center punches. Okay. These are used for making dimples in steel or for making dimples in metal so that the drill bit will catch and not drift or wander on you until it starts cutting into the material. Okay? So you take this, you put on your piece of metal, you take your hammer, you give it a so you take a piece of metal, your punch, put it down, and a single whack, and see, touchy-feely, this touchy-feely portion under the, so you'll feel a little dimple there. Okay, so there's a little dish in there now so there's a little dish there now that the drill bit can sit inside of and stay in place so it doesn't skitter or slide when you first start drilling the metal. Okay? These two here, and I'll have that start walking around that way. This one here is a nail set. So you see that the taper's longer on it. It's skinnier and longer. And then if you look at the bottom of that, at the point, the quote-unquote point, You see there's a flat surface to it, and then there's a little dimple on the bottom of that. And that's used for finish nails. So if you take a nail that has no head on it, and you want to put the nail into a piece of wood, but you don't want to see a nail head in it, you put that, you hammer your nail in almost all the way, put that on top of that. That little dimple sits on top of the nail, and you hit that, and that will sink the nail into your wood and not leave a nail head ding in your wood. Okay? So if you end up going from here and end up doing props or that kind of stuff, and you need to do some cleaner work, that's a tool that you may end up using. These, I can just tell us to wear. Okay. Are punches. You'll notice that they're straight sides, flat bottom. So some tools, some things are put together with a pin or a piece of metal that's pressure fit into something else. So there's no bolts, there's no nuts, there's no anything else holding it but some pressure. If you want to get that pin out, you need to be able to hit it. Usually the hammer heads are too big to hit that out. You don't want to damage what it is that you're trying to fix or replace or set up. So you use those punches. They've got a specific size on them, so they're 1/4 or 1/8 or 3/16, and those will help fit. That'll help distribute the load as you're pounding that thing in or out. You can also use those to line things up. So you have 2 3/16" holes. You can use those to kind of help drift things into place, set things in place. Big version of it is called a drift pin. Okay, so it's kind of like your nail set, except on steroids. Okay, and what this is meant to do is, if you have 2 pieces of scenery, 2 pieces of metal, 2 pieces of something that have 2 holes in them, and you need them to line up, what you can do is take this, put it through one hole, wiggle this around until it goes in the other hole, and then drive this in, wiggle it in, shift your pieces around, and when those 2 line up, this will be in there. All right? It gets it close. It doesn't get perfect. If you need it to be perfect, you use a punch on there. This helps drift things into place. So drift thing. So if you're using a drift pin, you're probably using a hammer to go along with it. Doing some kind of pounding. I'll just leave it here. So you're doing some kind of pounding. And we want to be as precise as we can in pounding things. Okay? So, let me get in. All right. So, claw hammer. C-L-A-W, a claw hammer. Okay? So, it's a claw hammer. The reason why it's a claw is on the back here. It's got this forked bit here. Right? This forked bit here is used for sliding a nail in between there. We put this down on a piece of wood or whatever we're working on, and we use the handle for leverage to pry that nail out. Okay? So there's a claw hammer. And there's also another hammer that looks exactly like this, except this bit isn't twisted. This bit doesn't bend as much. It goes out almost flat. And that's known as a rip hammer. Okay? Big bend in it, claw. The claw. Right? Or flatter, it's a rip hammer. It's meant for going through, beating the crap out of something, wiggling it in there, and then literally ripping shit apart.
Which one was the other name?
Okay?